So before we continue into the video, a quick shout out to today's video sponsor, JerseyFifa.com, the home of all of the greatest football kits. Whether that be the new latest releases or the old classic ones like this, Jersey FIFA has something for everyone, and now you can check it out yourself using the link in the description down below. And also make sure to use code JerseyFIFA for 10% off when you order. Hey guys, welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel, and welcome back to another episode of the Scouting for United series. Of course, the series where we look at loads of different players from around the world and discuss their profile, their tactical fit, whether or not Manchester United should be signing them. And today we're talking about a striker which not many people have been speaking about, and that is Taremi. Now, to an extent I understand why people haven't been talking about him, and that is because, as we see in his profile, he is 30 years old. And people in this day and age kinda are of the opinion that once a player gets to 30 years old, they're washed, they're past their best. But that isn't necessarily always the case, and I think Ten Hag agrees with me, because the talk kind of since the end of the season has been that Ten Hag wants a striker, of course, but actually ideally he would like two strikers, a younger striker and a more experienced striker. Now in terms of the young striker options, there's a lot on the market, but the older strikers not so many, but one which I think really tactically kind of fits the bill of an Erik Ten Hag striker is Taremi, so that's what we're going to be discussing today. And, the reason we're discussing it is because of this record, 80 goals and 49 assists in 147 games for Porto. It's a very, very impressive return, and that's the first thing you're looking for from a striker. Does he produce in the big moments when it matters? Yes, he does. Like I said, 80 goals, 49 assists in 147 games, it's a very, very decent return. And Taremi, in my opinion, is without doubt a good goal scorer. And we see that also in his info goal report as well, where we can see that last season he was expected to score 18.55 goals, he managed 22. Now this isn't an extraordinary overperformance, it's nothing spectacular, but it points to sustainability in his finishing, but also, a decent level of finishing. Taremi is above average with his finishing, but not so high that it's kind of difficult to sustain over several seasons. So to summarise, Taremi is certainly a good goal scorer and a good finisher, and that is something which Ten Hag would want and would like about him. But for me, it's more of the other play which makes him more interesting and more of a potential real good suitor for this United team. So what is it that I like about Taremi? Well, yes, it is what he does in the final third and it is his goals, but the bigger, more interesting thing for me is the work that he does further away from goal, dropping into these areas, because Taremi is actually a very, very good technical footballer. Standing at 6 foot tall, he has the body, the frame, the physique to hold the ball up and protect the ball in that way. Physically, he's very capable of kind of competing with big centre-backs, protecting the ball, and that makes him a very good hold-up striker. He is the sort of player which you can kind of go into from one of these positions in here. Go into him, Taremi is more than capable of holding the ball up, shielding the play, buying time for others to get involved, which we've seen in the past is something which Ten Hag likes from his strikers. But also, it's not just his physique and ability to hold the ball up, it's his passing from this position once he's done that. He's actually a very, very good passer, and in particular, he's really useful on the counter-attack. For example, if you're going to look to play quick transitioning football, as United do under Erik Ten Hag at times, the ability to go into Taremi, and then when he gets on the turn, he's actually a really, really good progressive passer. And he is the sort of player which can kind of drop, turn into these areas, and then play through balls to create chances for others. And that's kind of been captured by the fact that at Porto he's often played in the front two. He's been the one which drops a little bit deeper and looks to play those through balls through to his other strike partner. And genuinely, he is one of the better passers of a ball in terms of strikers. He is a very, very good passer. And we can see it in his FBref report, if we look at it here. We can see that in terms of his short passes, he attempts and completes 97th percentile and 98th percentile for his short passes. He's a very, very good short passer. But what I'm more interested in is a little bit further down. Passes into the final third, the 91st percentile, passes into the penalty area, the 94th percentile. But importantly, progressive passes, the 93rd percentile, and through balls, the 99th percentile. So this is a striker who is up there with the very best in the world at dropping into these positions and then freeing others. And in terms of a tactical fit, we know that United like to do that. They like to get Rashford in the play, coming in from the left-hand side, with the striker kind of making that space available with his movement. So Taremi really would tick that box. What I also like though, if we go back to that FBref report, is towards the top there, passes completed the 93rd percentile, and passes attempted the 92nd percentile. So, it's not a rarity to see Taremi in these deeper areas. It is something that he does on a very regular basis, and as a result he's a really good link striker and he's a really good threat on transition. Another reason he's a good threat on transition is because he is also good at carrying the ball forward. Again, kind of playing in a two-striker system, Taremi is often responsible for moving into wider positions to carry the ball forward. We can see that with his carries in the 90th percentile, progressive carries the 92nd percentile, carries into the penalty area the 85th percentile. Taremi is someone which likes to get on the ball and carry the ball forward. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you he's the best dribbler in terms of, throwing in skill in a 1-versus-1 situation. But again, in transition, he likes to move into these positions, get the ball and carry the ball forward. And again, with someone like Marcus Rashford who can then make the run inside, that could be quite a nice dynamic on the counter-attack. Now for me, that ability in transition is genuinely a very, very crucial part of any profile of striker which United are going to sign this summer. Because I think United need to keep their transitioning threat. Taremi, of course, as we can see, really does bring that. Whether it's passing or carrying the ball forward, he is very good in transition. But of course, moving forward for United, they also want to sustain possession more. So we need to see, can Taremi affect and, more importantly, benefit the team in those situations? Well, again, the answer is yes. And again, it comes because of his good passing. He's a very good little combination striker on the edge of the penalty area. Again, of course, playing in a two-striker system, he's used to dropping into these areas and combining. Sometimes he'll throw a dummy in to let the ball roll to a teammate in a better position. His awareness of what is around him in the final third is very, very good. He's a very intelligent footballer in these areas. But importantly, he's also good in the box. Of all of his goals scored this season, I can only recall one where he was actually outside of the penalty area. So yes, he's going to drop deep. He's going to link the play with his fellow forwards in these areas and kind of help the play keep ticking. He'll do that very, very well. But importantly, when it comes to it, when it's crunch time in the penalty area, Taremi is someone that looks to get in there. And I mean, we've seen already that his finishing is pretty decent. It's of a decent level, and he has scored a lot of goals for Porto since he's been there over the last 3 seasons or so. Taremi genuinely, from a tactical point of view and like a profile point of view, he looks like a really good option. Another good thing about Taremi is that he works hard off the ball. This isn't a lazy striker which just wants to kind of mope about in the penalty area. Taremi puts a lot of work in, he covers a lot of ground across a 90-minute match. And again, that is something which Ten Hag values. So again, if we're talking about a profile of a footballer, I think Taremi ticks a lot of the boxes. At 6 foot tall, he can kind of be used at times to hold the ball up. He's not a target man that you go long to their head or their chest. But if you can get the ball into his feet, he will hold the ball up for you. From there, he's going to bring real good combination play in the middle third of the pitch to set up counter-attacks, whilst he's also capable of leading the counter-attack himself, whether that be through carrying the ball forward into space or playing through balls for on-running players out wide. Taremi is very good in that aspect. But also in more sustained attacks, he combines very well in the final third in these areas and also offers that goal threat, that poacher instinct in and around the penalty area. Add to that the fact that out of possession he works really hard, I think you can see why we're talking about Taremi. Now, in today's video, we have kind of just scratched the surface of it. We will take a deeper dive if we see any sort of move actually materialising. Do I think that will happen? Not too sure at this moment in time. But if we do see some sort of concrete rumours and links, I will take a deeper dive on Taremi and again the intricacies of his game. But in terms of an overview, kind of assessing Taremi overall as a footballer, he's a very, very good striker. And I'm surprised that he hasn't been picked up by someone else in Europe already. Of course, currently playing for Porto. I think he does have the opportunity, if he wants to move to one of Europe's top 5 leagues to a genuinely good club. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not sitting here and saying that he should be Manchester United's main number 9 this season. It's not the case in my opinion. But as an experienced option on a shorter term deal, maybe 1 or 2 years, or maybe even a loan, although that seems unlikely, but a short deal, 1 year, 2 year, to be a striker who's the experienced option alongside someone like Erasmus Højlund, for example, someone like that, Taremi could be a really very good option for Manchester United, and I think he would be a bit of a cheaper option as well. Now, realistically, this won't be a priority for United in the summer, just because there are so many other positions which need addressing this year. However, if United are left with money at the end of the window, I would really be considering Taremi. And in terms of that experienced striker option which Ten Hag seems to want, if you can't go get the best of the best, which is Harry Kane, Taremi would probably be the next best shout, with players like Benzema having already moved this summer. Keep an eye on Taremi. If you want to, go watch games of him. He is a very good striker, and the Portuguese league is always a very good watch. So try watch some games back from last season. Taremi was really very impressive. He was also decent at the World Cup in the winter as well, so you could watch some of those games back. But just keep an eye on Taremi. Like I've said, I'm not going to sit here and say absolutely go get him as a priority, but maybe if you have a bit of leftover cash towards the end of the window, you could see a bit of business done here, and Personally, I think it would be pretty astute business, but let me know what you think in the comments down below. What do you think of Taremi? Have you seen much of him play, or are you going to go watch him now? What do you think of his strengths and weaknesses? Is he the right profile for Erik ten Hag, or is he a little bit too old? Let me know what you think. And also, before you leave, if you could subscribe, that would be greatly appreciated. But apart from that, thank you guys for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.